Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dan Minigun of Mushroom Cloud Gaming. As most of you are aware, I love the M60e4 light machine gun. I have well over 40,000 kills with that beast. I have made a video on the M60 before, basically a review covering what has changed in the spring patch. But it seems I have made a terrible omission. As many of you know, the M60e4 is a hard-hitting, slow-firing machine gun, which is supposed to be tap-fired. Now you may be wondering, where the hell am I going with this? Well, basically, it comes down to a few stats. Prior to the spring patch, I mean during the winter patch, the M60 used to have a 0.6 upward recoil, combined with a 0.5 times multiplier. 0.5 times means it will halve the upward recoil every first shot. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to clarify what I mean by first shot multiplier and vertical recoil. Many of you probably already know what this is, but for the sake of clarity, let's make a comparison with actual clips. To do this comparison, I'm going to use the SCAR H assault rifle. I chose this weapon because it has a significant first shot multiplier as well as high vertical recoil. This will show the impact of reducing the first shot recoil and comparing it with follow-up shots. Alright, here we are at the test range. Let's pick the SCAR H. I'm going to remove the underbarrel and going to leave the heavy barrel and no accessory. We're going to choose the 4x optic to simulate the recoil better. I'm going to switch to single fire and let you listen to the gunshots. Now, the vertical recoil on the SCAR H with a heavy barrel equipped is 0.65, which is fairly high indeed. Its first shot recoil is 1.75, which may sound less compared to commonly used weapons such as the Ace-23. The Ace-23 has a recoil multiplier of 2.25, but we'll not go into the Ace-23 for now. To find the first shot multiplier, we simply have to take the vertical recoil, which is 0.65, and then multiply it by 1.75, which is the first shot multiplier. This gives us a value of 1.1375, which rounding up to 2 decimal places is 1.14. Now 1.14 is some pretty heavy recoil. Going back to the clip where I fired the SCAR H in single shot mode only, we'll notice that the recoil will always be multiplied by 1.75. So in reality, we won't be experiencing the standard 0.65. We will be experiencing a recoil of 1.14 each time we take a shot. I forgot to mention that I'm not really controlling the recoil, I'm just firing the gun just to show the difference. The last clip was the SCAR H in complete full auto mode. Again, I did not control the recoil or attempt to fire in bursts. I simply held down the trigger. Let's move on to a direct comparison by viewing the two clips side by side. What I was expecting to see was a much more pronounced vertical recoil on the single-shotted SCAR H. This is because that, as we said earlier, a single-shotted SCAR H will experience a vertical of 1.14, assuming a heavy barrel is attached. You will not be maximizing that 620 rounds per minute natural rate of fire. When I fired the SCAR H in full auto with no burst control, it was functioning at 620 RPM to the max. The last thing I wanted to talk about regarding first shot recoil, single shot, automatic fire is the fact that when we fired in full auto, we had horrible horizontal recoil. Of course you may be saying, well, I never full auto the SCAR H, especially not with the 4x sight. That, of course, is very true. However, even if you fire in burst mode, you will still experience horizontal recoil, whereas single-shotting it will not experience any horizontal at all. With that behind us, let's move on to the effects of the angled grip. The angle grip is an attachment that reduces your first shot multiplier by 20%. The tables you see now are typical first shot multipliers of some weapons in Battlefield 4. I'll briefly explain what these tables mean. The first column is of course the name of the weapon. The second is the actual first shot multiplier without any attachments. The third column is the vertical recoil multiplied by the first shot multiplier. For example, the Ace-23 has a vertical of 0.36, which multiplied by 2.25 gives us a 0.81 every time we fire a single shot. When an angled grip is attached, the Ace-23's first shot multiplier goes from 2.25 to 1.8 times. This reduces the first shot recoil to 0.648. I have confirmed that the angled grip affects every single weapon type in the same way, that is, a 20% reduction in its first shot multiplier. In the LMG table, we see very low first shot multipliers compared to the assault rifles. However, some of these, including the M240B and PKP, have much higher vertical recoil than even the highest assault rifle. It should be noted that the M240B, RPK and PKP are high damage weapons. This means that they use the 33 damage model, as opposed to the regular 24.5 damage model. The most interesting weapons are the LSAT, the RPK and the PKP. These weapons, when having an angled grip equipped, have had their multiplier reduced to 1 times. A 1 times multiplier means that the first shot recoil will not be multiplied by any value. This means a vertical recoil of 0.28 on the LSAT will remain 0.28 even for the first shot. The point of this exercise was to give some context as regards to the first shot multiplier of certain weapons. We have established that the light machine gun category has significantly lower first shot multipliers than the assault rifle. But what really interests us is the M60e4. The first shot multiplier on the M60e4 is 1 times. When the angled grip is applied, this first shot recoil grows from 1 times to 0.8 times. The significance of the 0.8 times multiplier is that the M60e4 is the only gun in the game that has a negative first shot multiplier. By negative I mean that the first shot is actually reduced rather than increased. What happens is that the 0.4 vertical recoil turns into 0.32. This is the reason why the M60e4 is an amazing weapon for long-range tap firing. It should be noted, however, that at any range exceeding about 100 meters, the heavy barrel is highly recommended. Equipping a 4 times optic on the M60e4 is also an amazing combination. To conclude with, I will show some gameplay I had with the M60e4 while having the angled grip equipped.